check out my jet. This is a Tonka GoBots Fitor. He was one of the renegades, which were the bad guys. And he's not just a jet, he's a robot, because GoBots would transform from robots to vehicles back again. That was one of their little tagline things. But this is a toy that I had when I was a kid. This isn't the same one I had when I was a kid, but the one I had when I was a kid was just like this. Some bullies at school one day broke my original, and I never had another one until just a few years ago. I found one that was a pretty good shape and pretty good price on eBay. So I said, you know what? I need to have him back in my collection. His transformation is really simple, as most GoBots were. You just pull the back of the jet out, which makes another cool looking jet. Lift him up, flip his arms out, and there you go. You can flip his wings back. And that is Fitor. And he's a really cool guy. I always thought when I was a kid, why is this guy one of the bad guys? Because he looks like a hero. Like, he's got cool shades, he's got like a friendly face and everything. And if you look at most of the bad guys in GoBots, they look kind of heroic. They had, just sort of like handsome faces. And one of the reasons is these toys didn't originate as GoBots. Just like Transformers, they are adopted robots here in the States, adopted from Japan. Because the whole transforming toy thing, I can't remember who started it, whether it was Takara or Popey that started it, but I know that the ones that came out first in the United States were when Tonka bought the rights to release Popey and then Bandai's Machine Robo toys. And this originally was, this character was named Jet Robo, and he was a good guy. And that's why he has sort of a good guy looking face. Is Jet Robo in the original Machine Robo cartoon and toy series, he was a good guy. And I'm trying to remember, I think I've watched a few episodes of Machine Robo, and it's a really cool cartoon. I just never got a chance to finish watching it. I think that the robots could work with people, like piloting them, but they also had kind of a personality of their own. So, yeah, these guys were good guys, and they fought against monsters, which the monsters that they fought against actually became a subline whenever Tonka brought it over to the United States of the bad guys. I can't remember their names now to save my life, but I think they were GoBot monsters is what they were called. But those things, the ones that were sort of organic looking monsters, they were originally the bad guys in Machine Robo. But anyway, this is, I didn't have the original toy. I don't know if there's any real difference in, I'm sure any differences would be in the coloring of the figure, and I've seen some pictures of Jet Robo, and he looks very similar in color scheme. But this guy was one of my favorites. I only had him for a few days when I was a kid, and one of the bullies at school took him into the gymnasium, and he said, I want to see him fly. And he threw it as high up as he could throw it. And the kid was a good bit older than me and much more athletic than I was. And he really chunked that thing pretty far. And when it came back down, the only thing that really survived the impact were the die-cast parts, which would have been just the main torso part. And everything else just kind of shattered on him. So I only ever got to play with Fitor for a couple of days when I was a kid, but I've had him now for a few years, and he's a great toy to have to just goof around with. His articulation is very limited, but most of these toys back then were limited, and it didn't matter because we had imagination when we were kids. And so, we didn't really care about the articulation. They couldn't move his legs, but he'd fight and walk around. Just, you would use your imagination. But his articulation is he can turn his arm all the way around, and because of transformation, he has kind of a butterfly, so he can, you know, he can kind of dab. Look at that. That's all the articulation you need. That was dumb. Anyway, cool little guy. Simple transformation. You just fold his arms forward like that. You push the legs up, straighten the wings, and you've got a little fighter jet, a little space fighter jet. He's got little rockets in the back, and he has wheels, so he actually does roll. Not super well, but well enough. And the GoBots, what was nice about them was they were roughly maybe a little bit bigger than Hot Wheels size, but they, when you're a kid, they fit right in with Hot Wheels. So, you could have like, the Hot Wheels could be like normal vehicles and all, and these guys were hiding amongst them. Well, not that a space jet would really hide, but, like, I remember my buddy had Turbo, who was a red, I guess he was a Lamborghini type vehicle, some kind of sports car. And he was just about the same size as a Hot Wheels car. So, that's a cool little thing. And they would also, work with any of the Hot Wheels play sets. The smaller GoBot vehicles would fit in those. But, yeah, this is Fitor, and he's always been one of my favorite toys. And this isn't my original, but it's got the same spot in my heart as the original did. So if you get a chance to find one of these guys, the only place you can find them, is like if you look up and find one in a thrift store or at a flea market or something like that. Other than that, you'll probably find them in a toy shop and pay a good bit for them. I paid a good bit more for this guy than he originally was in the store, but it was well worth it to me. And I didn't pay anything near what these guys usually go for. So if you'd like to get a Fitor. Now, I know that there's some other companies, and it might be Bandai, that release these, but I know another toy company released versions of these guys that are more articulated, like modern versions, that are based on the Machine Robo figures, and those are really cool, and I would really like to eventually get a Jet Robo like that, because they look so nice. They're nice and articulated. They have cool, like, anime type proportions and all. But until then, I've got this guy, and he's awesome.